All right, hello, Team Give. How are you? My name is Sarah Cavallero. I'm an RFXer on Team Give, and I'm really excited to be coming to all of you tonight, training on this topic. And I apologize that I had to pre-record this training tonight, but I had another commitment during the normal Team Give training time. So obviously, we're coming off an incredibly exciting few weeks with Rodan and Fields between convention and Radiant Defense coming to the market. There's a lot of energy and excitement around Rodan and Fields right now, right? And what that really means is that this is a huge opportunity and such a critical time for us as consultants to be able to go out there and share the energy and excitement that it means to be a part of Rodan and Fields as a consultant, right? So a lot of times when a product is launching with the company, often we get so focused on the product and, oh my gosh, when is it going to be able to go to customers? And I've got to talk to all my customers and make sure they're getting it, that we sometimes forget that product launch is really one of the most important things that we can do during a product launch is actually use that launch to help us prospect and to help us grow our teams, because there's so much energy, there's so much excitement, right? And it gives us a new reason to reconnect and share this incredible business with other people. So the training that I'm going to do tonight is a really kind of simplified way to prospect. I actually heard a version of this training by another RFXer by the name of Kelly Hoisington. This training was brilliant, I thought. The concept was so smart. And so I kind of took that concept and I adapted it into my own training. And so what we're going to do tonight is I'm going to share with you a simple five steps, right, to be able to use as a guide when you're out there sharing this business with others, when you're out there prospecting with people, right? And so it's 5 simple steps. And in those 5 simple steps, we're going to be focusing on these 6 key words, okay? So if you've got a pen and a paper, great. I want you to take it out. I want you to take notes. And what we're actually going to do first is let's check in. Let's do a little gut check, right? Because I'm sure some of you are watching this and thinking, oh, prospecting. I love it. I love sharing this business with other people. And some of you may be thinking, oh, I do not like prospecting, right? And so the first thing I want you to do is I want you to write down or comment in the feed here, what is that one word that describes how you feel about prospecting? That one word. Just what first comes to mind. What's that first word, right? And I want you to do that because as soon as you identify what that word is, I want you to think about it, because how you feel about it is most likely how it's coming across to your prospect and how they're receiving that message, right? So if you feel scared of prospecting or you feel like you're nervous about it, that energy, that's the message that your prospect is getting as well. If you feel excited to prospect, you feel excited to go out there and share, guess what? Your prospect's feeling that excitement, right? So what I would first want to do is just have you think about what are your feelings towards it, right? Because it's definitely being projected outward, whether you realize it or not, right? So that's the first thing. Now, the other thing too is that many of us really want to go into a really good conversation with a prospect feeling just super prepared and confident, right? You want to go in there, you want to rock the conversation, you want to feel like I'm prepared, I'm confident, we're going to rock this. But a lot of people struggle. They don't feel confident. They don't feel prepared. And the 2 reasons why they struggle is they either struggle with belief or they struggle with the skill, right? So let's first talk about belief. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you believe that anyone can do this business? On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being that, nope, you don't think anybody can do it, to 10, you believe anybody can rock this business. Right? 1 to 10. Think about that. And then the second question I want you to think about yourself is, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you believe you have the skill set to do well in this business? right? So those are another 2 questions I want you to think about yourself, right? Just think about that, write them down. Because here's the thing. Sometimes our belief on how we've done in the past or how we see others perform in the business, it affects how we think our prospects will do, right? Or how we think others' level of success will be in the business. So, if you believe anybody can do this, and you've seen that and you believe that, you're going to believe that the prospect that you're talking to, that they can rock this business. If you feel like you're not as far along as where you want to be, so you don't have that belief or you don't have that skill set, you're projecting that out there, right? And so for me, guys, I've always been a 10. I've always been anyone can do this. I'm going to build the skills to do it because I truly believed that it was learnable, right? And I saw other people doing it. And my mentality was always like, okay, if they can do it, I can do it. If she can do it, I can do it. If he can do it, I can do it, right? And so I've always been that 10. And it's even more so now because we see people think about it of all different backgrounds, ages, demographics, absolutely rocking third and fields businesses, right? And so the proof is even there, even more so to kind of build that belief. But if you are kind of shaky in your belief, right? Because we're saying sometimes people come into these prospecting conversations and they're shaky in the belief part. There's a few things you can do to really feel like your belief is more on point, right? Like you're like, yes, I can do this. I know everybody can do this, right? One of those things is just be here, be present, participate in trainings, touch your business every day. Touch your business every day, right? The more engaged you are in the business and the more you're participating in the business, the more your belief is going to build. Surround yourself with other like-minded consultants that are positive, that want to grow the business, not, that you don't want to surround yourself with people that are, oh, blah, 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 no, surround yourself with people that are doing the work and are growing their businesses and are like-minded, right? The other thing you can do is do personal development. I know so many of us were so just impressed and inspired by Rachel Hollis and Mel Robbins, right? That's a form of personal development. Start your day with 10 to 15 minutes of personal development, right? It helps instill that belief in yourself, belief in what you're doing. Some other things, again, attend BizOps, attend trainings, listen to closing calls. I remember when I was brand new in the business, the first thing that I did, like training calls are great, guys, but you know what? You know what teaches you the best to talk about the business? Listening to somebody like Romy talk about the business, right? So Romy used to do those closing calls, and guys, she still does those Zooms to close our prospects, right? Like somebody like Romy or Jamie or Jen or any of the upline leaders that you connect with. Listen to how they are sharing the opportunity. I remember I would listen to Romy's calls. I would listen to it 4 or 5 times in a row, and I would just take notes and I would take notes. And I remember thinking after I listened to that, wow, I was like, I can go out and share this with people, right? It was teaching me how to share the opportunity, how to share the business. So do that. Be engaged, and just do those things. And again, I think my biggest tip there is just listen to leaders share the business. It's probably one of the most valuable trainings that you can ever do in this business, to learn how to talk about the business yourself and feel more confident there. Okay. But we talked about belief, but we also talked about skill, right? So some people have challenges prospecting because they just feel like they do not have the skill set to do it. They don't have the skill. And let's just talk about this for a second, because prospecting is absolutely a skill. If you look at any top leader in the company, myself included, guys, I had to learn how to prospect. Just like I had to learn the products and learn how to use the solution tool and learn how to do a BBL, I had to learn how to prospect. Prospecting is a learned skill. And don't think it's not. It totally is a learned skill. The people that are really, really good at prospecting have prospected a ton and have had a ton of practice and probably a ton of failures along the way, right? That's what it's about. And so just like any other profession, guys, people don't all of a sudden become like, hey, an orthopedic surgeon without practice, right? Without building the skill set. People don't just all of a sudden walk into a classroom and say, hey, like I'm a teacher. No, right? They're building their skills. They're learning how to do it. And our business and prospecting is exactly the same way. So if you are feeling like, oh my gosh, I want to build a team and I'm so excited to go out there and share this business, but you're feeling stuck in some way, or you're feeling like you can't do it, you've got to work on your prospecting skills. You've got to build the skill set. And so this training tonight is actually going to help you build your prospecting skill set. Okay. So let's talk about what these steps are. So like I said, I'm going to go through 5 steps. Okay. 5 steps. And on one of the later steps, we're going to use this 6-word strategy. All right. So it's kind of the meat of the training. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through basically 5 steps that you could use to engage a prospect. Or maybe some of you are on this and, you're even going to use this and apply it to getting new customers. And that's great, right? What I'm going to do is just give you a guideline here of steps that you can follow to have the conversation if you're feeling like you're struggling there, right? So this is basically the concept. The concept is that you need to really ask your prospect the right questions so that you are having a really good conversation with them. It's not about you loving the business because it has done X, Y, and Z for you and you're ready to shove that down their throat because it's amazing. You might love this business because, it helped you maybe leave your corporate job, but your prospect doesn't want to leave their corporate job. And if you're just saying, hey, this is going to get you out of your corporate job, they don't care about that. And they're like checked out. They're not listening, right? But if you start asking questions and you identify really, what are they interested in? Okay, wait, they're interested in this and this. Now, because you've asked the questions and you know what they're thinking, you can actually have a really good conversation where you're selling them on the value that they want to hear, the information that is valuable to them, right? So this prospect, they don't care. They want to stay in their corporate job, but man, they want to start a nonprofit, right? And now maybe you can share more information about that, right? And so this is what you want to think about. So the whole premise of this is really just asking your prospects the right questions so that you're having a really good conversation, right? So does that make sense? Hopefully it does make sense. So here's the steps. And again, you can do this in person. You can do this on the phone. You can do this if you're also just engaging somebody about products, right? Like you can do this on 3-way calls. If anybody on my team is watching this and they've done 3-way calls with me, they know that this is how I do 3-way calls. This is the exact method that I do for my 3-way calls, right? To help validate the business for our prospects. And so the first thing you want to do, step one is you just want to welcome them and thank them and let them know that you're excited to talk to them, and share more. Okay. That's easy, right? Welcome. Thank you. I'm so excited to talk to you. Step 2, you want to share with them what the purpose of this conversation is. Okay. Everybody's time is precious. They're probably like, wait, why is Sarah calling me right now? So lay it all out there right at the front. Share the exact purpose of the conversation. Okay. And you can say, listen, I want to tell you more about what I do, right? It's the company's Rodan & Fields. Have you ever heard of it? Have you ever heard about Rodan & Fields? If they say no, you can say, oh, are you familiar with Proactive, right? Or the doctors that created Proactive? This is their new company, right? And I love it. Or if they say, yeah, I've heard of Rodan & Fields. The next question how you're going to respond to that is you're going to say, awesome. I'm so excited you've heard about it. So tell me, what do you know about Rodan & Fields, right? Because I think a lot of us make an assumption that we're talking to people and they know Rodan & Fields. Oh, I know it. Okay. If somebody says that to you and says, oh, I've heard about it, I know it, are you then turning around and asking them, hey, what do you know about it? Or are you allowing that to stop the conversation because you're assuming they don't want to hear anymore? I'm telling you guys, so many people have heard of Rodan & Fields, but they have no idea what it's about because they've actually never had a conversation with somebody about the products or the business. I promise you. I promise you. So if they say, oh yeah, I've heard about it, you say, great, tell me what you know. I'd love to know what you know about it, right? So that's step 2. You're sharing the purpose of the conversation, you're letting them know it's about Rodan and Fields, and you're starting the conversation about Rodan and Fields. Okay, now step 3, right? Ask them if they've ever done a business like this. Have you ever done anything like this? Right? Now, if they say no, say, oh my gosh, awesome. I'm so excited to tell you more about this. I love this. I love it. I'm so excited to tell you more about it. And if they say yes, right? So maybe they have previous experience in direct sales or, a similar type of company. You say, oh, great. That's awesome. Tell me your experience. What was your experience? Right? Because maybe they had a great experience or maybe they didn't have a great experience. But we need to know exactly what their experience is, right? And you don't know until you ask them the question, right? You have to ask them the question. So that's step 3, okay? Now, if they come back and say, oh, I did this and it was great, or oh, I did this and it wasn't so great, and they give you the reasons why it wasn't great, guys, just, I never compare other companies. Like, that's not what we're about. I'm always about just highlighting the benefits of Rodan and Fields. But if they say, oh, I did this other company and I literally have a garage full of products, and obviously, it was a model where they had to buy the inventory stocking. Well, you could say, oh yeah, we do it really differently with Rodan and Fields, right? And you can explain that to them. So that's the first 3 steps. Welcome them, share the purpose, introduce the background just to gauge if they have any background experience with this. You want to know where they stand on that, okay? And then step 4, and this is kind of really the bulk of this training today, right? And this is what I want you to come away with, because these 6 words and this 6-word strategy, like I said, you can apply this in any conversation that you're having around Rodan and Fields, okay? So often, this is where people start to get stuck and they just say, oh, okay, so what are you interested in? What kind of questions do you have, right? So you're asking very open-ended questions. And what happens is the conversation starts to become really cyclical, or it just starts going crazy. And then you're talking for hours and hours, right? And it just keeps going around and around. And so what I'm going to do is teach you this 6-word strategy so that you can actually have really just efficient, effective conversations with them. Because sometimes people need guidance as to, oh yeah, that is the thing that interests me, right? And so here's how this works. So, what we find to be true is that most prospects or people interested in Rodan and Fields are interested in one of 6 things, right? They're interested in 1 or 2 of 6 things. And I want you to use this technique because it's going to help you do 2 things. It's going to help put you in the driver's seat of the conversation, right? You get to be in control. But the other thing is that you get to focus your responses on their specific questions, right? Rather than just verbally vomiting all over them. Nobody wants to verbal vomit. I've done it so many times. I'm telling you, you don't want to do it. It's not good. It doesn't lead anywhere great. But it really does. It helps you focus on, again, the information that they are interested in. Because remember, this conversation has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with them, right? That's what it's about. And that's how prospecting should work. Understanding what they need to hear and answering the questions that they need to have answered. So, okay, so I'm going to walk you through how this works. So, you might say, listen, okay, I know you only got 15 minutes and I really want to respect your time. But I also want to make sure that I get your specific questions answered. So, and this is where you kind of lay it all out there, right? So here's the 6 words, people. And by the way, I wrote this backwards. So I don't have great handwriting, but I have better handwriting than this. I know it looks like my son who's in 1st grade wrote it. He didn't, I did, but I had to write it backwards. So I'm doing the best I can here. All right. So these are the 6 words: product, time, company, support, money, ease. These are the 6 topics, right? These are the 6 topics. So what you want to do is you want to just lay it all out there, right? And you do that by saying, I have found that when I'm talking to people about Rodan Fields, most people are curious about basically one of 6 things. They're either interested in the products, the time, the company, they're interested in support, money or ease. Which one are you interested in hearing more about? Right? So what you've done is you've laid out the 6 main things that people are generally interested in, and you're asking them specifically, which one are you interested about? Now, once you're asking them, okay, which one are you interested about? And they say, blah, 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 blah. Now, what I'm going to do in this part of the training is I'm going to just walk you through a couple of these, right? And kind of give you the idea of how you would dig a little deeper and then how you would respond, right? So I'm not going to give you exact verbiage for all of this, but I want to give you, teach you and train you on the concept of how to address these things. And I'll do this with a couple of these, right? So for example, you say to them 6 things, which one are you interested in? They say money. Money. Okay, and here's the thing. Money can mean a lot of things. Money can mean a lot of things. For some people, money means the investment. They want to know, what's the investment like? For other people, maybe they want to know, how long did it take you to earn your investment back? Or for other people, how long did it take you to start making money, right? And so you can't just assume that you know what they're interested in, even when it comes to money or the topic. You need to still ask questions. So when they say, oh, money, you say, oh, okay, well, tell me more about that. Tell me more about that. Guys, write this down. Write down those words. Tell me more about that. If ever you're in question of, or thinking, oh my gosh, what do I say next? Just say, tell me more about that. It works every time, in every situation. I promise you. Tell me more about that, right? So what that allows you to do by simply saying that is it allows you to dig a little deeper, right? And that's the goal. You really need to understand exactly what they want to know about so that you know exactly how to answer their question, right? And the only way that you can do that is by just digging a little deeper. So these 6 are kind of the framework, but then you still got to say, okay, okay, money. All right. Well, tell me more about that. What specifically about money are you interested in, right? And then allow them to start going there. So for example, say somebody says, well, I want to know how much money I can make. Okay, you want to know how much money you can make. Okay, well, then you might want to say, well, how much money would you want to make a month for this to be worth it for you? Right? Because you don't know. Maybe they want to eventually make a 6-figure income and leave their job, or maybe they want to make $500 a month. You don't know until you ask them the question. If you say to them, well, what would you want to make a month in order for this to be worth it to you? Okay. So then once they say, I would love to make $1,000 a month. Okay. Now you know where they stand. So then you can say, okay, $1,000 a month. So how many hours a week would you be willing to work the business to make $1,000 a month? Right? So now you're framing it up in a way that you can really tangibly talk about them envisioning them doing the business, right? That's what it's about. You're creating that vision for your prospect. And if they say, well, I could do this 10 hours a week. I think I have about 10 hours a week. Then you can really say to them, okay, you know what? That's awesome. If I can show you how to work this business 10 hours a week to make $1,000 a month, would you be willing to give this business a try? Right? So now what you've done is you've brought the whole thing down to their exact terms based on exactly what they said they could do, right? And what they want to do. They told you, I want to make $1,000 a month. That's what I would love to do, and that would be worth it for me to do this business. Okay, and they said they can do 10 hours a week, right? So now you've packaged the whole thing together. You say, okay, if I can show you how to make $1,000 a month by working 10 hours a week, are you willing to give this business a try? Are you ready to link arms with me and do this, right? So be direct and ask it that way. But that's a way, see, so what I did there is I just kind of took you through a way that you can kind of take it from, oh, I'm interested in money, down to, okay, we've dug really deep and now we know exactly where their interest is, right? Because they were interested in how much money they could make. We've asked the right questions and we've set it up and create this vision for them so that it's really crystal clear what they want out of this business, right? Okay. So that's money. Let's talk about time, because time is another one. I think that, when I think let's be honest here. I think when we look at prospects' interest in the business, to me, like money, time, those are the two biggies often, right? As I'm talking to people that are interested about the business. And time, again, could be different though, right? You could say time, and for one person, it could be, well, how many hours a week do you work? For somebody else, time might be, well, how long does it take to earn a Lexus? Right? Totally different, but totally related to time. So again, you've got to dig deep. Okay, time. So tell me more about that. Like, what exactly about time are you interested in? Tell me more about that, right? Catchphrase for all. Okay. So they say, how much time does it take you to work the business? Right? How much time does it take you to work the business? Then you could actually come back and say, well, how much extra time do you think you have a week? How much extra time do you think you have your week? And maybe they have a hard time envisioning this. I know when I was considering Rodan and Fields, time was the biggie for me because I had 3 little kids. They were 5, 3, and 1. I worked a 50-hour work week at a really stressful job. And so I remember thinking, time, oh my gosh, I have no time. How am I going to do this? But when you started to realize, oh, okay, I've got this time here and this time here. So you might need to work with them and say, well, what's your typical day look like? Oh, you commute an hour each way? Oh, okay, there's 2 hours, right? And so what you might want to do here is help them figure out where they've got those buckets of time, right? But you say to them, how much extra time do you have in a week? And they might come back and say 10 hours, and then, oh, okay, well, how much, money are you looking to earn? Like what would you want to be looking to earn on a monthly basis? Oh, $500? Oh, okay. Well, right. And then you do what we just did before. You kind of frame it that same way. Okay, if I can show you how to work this business 10 hours a week, so you're making $500 a month. Are you ready to go? Are you ready to give this a try? Right? Or or here's another one that this is a really big one. So another one that comes with time is they say it's not the right time, right? I mean, how often do we hear that? Oh, it's just not the right time. I always say to people, I mean, reality is it's like, when you're considering like having babies or something like that, right? I mean, it's never the right time. If you're 30% ready, you're ready, right? No, I'm kidding. But that's what they say. It's not the right time. So here's the thing. You can come back and say then, okay, well, you know what? What does the right time look like for you? What does the right time look like for you? Hear what they have to say. They may say, oh, I've got this coming up and this coming up and this coming up. Okay. Maybe they're in a really bad relationship. Maybe they're moving. Maybe it's summer. Maybe their kid's goldfish died, right? That funny quote, right? Maybe that's what's going on. So ask them that question. And here's the thing with this particular one, you can do one of 2 things here. And I think, sometimes your prospect best, and if it's really not a good time for them for something going on in their life, right? And so one way you could say is, I totally get it. I'm going to put a note in my calendar to follow up with you next month because I know you're in the midst of moving and I know it's crazy. So I'm going to put a note in my calendar and I'm going to follow up with you, in October, in the middle of October, after it's all done. Okay. So that's one way. The second way is that you can frame it, especially if they're like, well, it's just not the right time and they're not really giving you a reason why. Then what you do is you frame why now is the right time, right? So you're creating urgency around right now. And, any time that you are talking to people about the Rodan and Fields business and joining as a consultant, you should always, in any given day, you should have 3 reasons why now is the exact right time to join Rodan and Fields, right? You want to create that urgency and excitement and why now is the time. And guys, with everything that's coming, you can easily come up with a list of 25 reasons why now is the time, right? But that's the other way that you can go back when someone says, now's not the time. Well, now is the time. And I would be really remiss not to share this with you, right? I mean, I always say that to people. I'm always very transparent with people when I'm talking to them about the business, and share with them exactly why now is the time, because I want them to know that. Think about it. If you were considering the business and something really significant was about to happen, wouldn't you want to know that? Yes. Yes. So make sure you're sharing that information with them, right? And you'll know which way to take the conversation based on who they are, right? But anyway. Okay, so we've talked about time, we've talked about money. Let's talk a little bit about company. Some people might be really interested in the founders, or where are these products coming from? Who started this company? Other people might come back and say, oh, it's a pyramid scheme. Pyramid scheme, right? That falls under company. I have to be honest, truly, I feel like with Rodan and Fields, I'm 6 years into Rodan and Fields, over 6 years, and I feel like we're getting this less and less and less. But if they do say to you, oh, it's a pyramid scheme, stop them right there and say, oh, okay, so what do you think a pyramid scheme is? Just ask them. Most people do not know the legal definition. They do not know what a pyramid scheme is. They just have this like preconceived notion that pyramid schemes are bad and any direct sales company is a pyramid scheme because they just don't know. They're ignorant to it, and that's okay. It's our job to educate them that it's not, right? So ask them, well, okay, tell me more about that. Why do you think that? Right? And then you can address it. Okay. Other thing we get about company, often I put this under this category, is the saturation component, right? Everybody I know is selling Rodan and Fields and using Rodan and Fields. Okay. Yeah, we get this a lot. But if you were on virtual, if you were live in New Orleans, guys, you saw the stats. You saw the numbers. We own less than 7% of the US skincare market, a fraction of the Canadian and Australian skincare markets. We've got so much coming. I mean, when you look at it, just with the launch of Body and Radiance of Friends, put us into another 9.3 billion in the US market share in categories that we can go into, right? So, I mean, it's insanity how much growth we still have. So we can certainly dispel that with numbers and things like that. But at the end of the day, sometimes perception is reality. And so social media makes the world seem really small. So, well, they say, everybody I know. So then you go back to them and say, okay, I can understand why you feel that way, but tell me, like, why do you feel that way? What makes you say that everybody's doing it? Ask them why they feel that way, right? And if they say, oh, well, I don't know, everybody, it's all over my social media. It's all over my social media. Oh, so you have a couple people on social media that you know that sell Rodan and Fields. Oh, yeah. Oh, like how many? Oh, 5. Oh, and you have 600 friends on Facebook. Oh, and 5 people. So the thing is too, is that one of the things that you can really relate back to about this, without kind of talking specifically about numbers or the fact that, you could share the income disclosure statement and kind of prove that the majority of Rodan and Fields consultants aren't doing, much with income in the business. They're probably just posting on social media and not even having conversations. That's what we say. The other way you can really do it is say, okay, so, but what are you seeing them post about? Are they posting about congratulating their team? And are they earning gifts? Are they posting about what their customers are thinking? Or are they just posting the products over and over and over again? Right? So we want to kind of draw to their attention that just because somebody is heavily posting in social media about the products, they may not necessarily be growing a business, right? So again, it's all about perception. And so with this one, just ask those questions and dig a little deeper, because you want to dispel the perception, first of all. But you can do that either through kind of doing it through social media and kind of talking about, well, what are they really posting about? Or you can really, really share the powerful, powerful numbers about how we are not saturated at all and really the growth potential with this company, right? So that's one way that you could go with that. And the other thing too is I like to just say to people, and I heard this Kelly say this too, but you know what? At the end of the day, nobody's going to do it like you do it. If you are gritty, if you want to grow this, if you want to grow a big business, nobody's going to do it like you. And there is room for you to do it, right? Nobody's you. So again, kind of differentiate it, make it about them, right? Okay, so that's company. So I went through, guys, I'm not going to take too much more time here. I know I'm rambling, but we've gone through time, we've gone through money, we've gone through company. Let's just go through these last three kind of quickly, because I think you're getting the idea. Once they say it, you dig deeper, and then you bring it down to them. You bring it down to their vision. So we'll go through products, support, and ease pretty quickly. So with support, you know, they may say, oh, support. And often I find if they're asking about support, it's because they didn't get support in another type of company that they worked with. Guys, I'm doing a training really quick. Can you guys be quiet? Mateo, sorry, everybody. So sometimes if, thank you guys. If it's support, they are, you know, maybe they got burned by not receiving training or support with another, you know, direct sales company, something like that. And so I think if that's the case, you say, okay, well, what was your support like? Where did you feel like you were lacking support, right? So you want to keep asking those questions. Or if they feel that they need support because they have no background in sales. We hear that so much. Oh, I don't have a skincare background. I don't have sales experience. Well, then you can talk about the support, the training, you know, whether it comes from corporate, whether it comes from your team, whether you're going to be their support system. And, you know, you can talk about all of those sorts of things that will help them understand the level of support that they're going to get so that they start to feel comfortable about that. Okay. For products, often I think with products, to me, I think the biggest one we get is the products are too expensive. So some people, you know, are considering selling Rodan and Fields, and then they look at the products and they think, oh my gosh, they're so expensive. Or if you're talking to somebody, a potential customer, and they say, oh, products are so expensive. I always kind of say, okay, well, compared to what? What are you currently using, or what do you think they're expensive compared to? Right? So then you're starting to think, you know, if it's compared to what, and they're saying they walk into a drugstore, okay, then we can have a really good conversation around results, right? Because we are obviously, what you get is what you pay for, right? And I mean, reality is our products are nothing compared to what's available in drugstores, right? But the other piece of it too is like, what are they currently using? And I love asking this question, because often as I start to ask the questions, guys, I need you guys to be really quiet, please, just for a few more minutes. So I ask them what they're currently using and if they're happy with the results, right? I have found more than 80% of the time, potential customers, potential consultants, they are not happy with what they're currently using from a results perspective. And we actually find this in in the skincare market, about 85% of consumers are not generally happy with their results, right? They're just not. So that's a great way to address the products. But again, digging deeper, right? You see how you're asking those questions, you're digging a little deeper. Ease. This one is I don't get this one very often, right? With ease, but sometimes people want to know how easy it is. Well, how easy is it? You know, oh, you just need Wi-Fi and a dream, boom, and you're there, right? I always think that's so funny. But you know, they want to know, oh, is it easy? Is it easy? Okay, guys, this is not hard manual labor, right? It's not. So, you know, it takes work. This business takes work. It takes grit. It takes work. You guys all know that. You all know that. But the reality of the situation is this is a smart, efficient business model that you can scale, that you can do in part-time hours, flexible, around a million other things on your own time and terms. Right? That's what it is. That's what it is. And that's what you really want to help your prospects understand. And now my dog is drinking. Oh my gosh, I'm getting so many distractions tonight, guys. I'm really, really sorry here. So anyway, it's actually, I'm filming this on a Saturday night. So it's craziness over here at Casa Caballero. But that's what you want to focus on too. And somebody thinks it's just going to be super easy, or they think it's going to be really, really hard. Right? You want to kind of dig a little deeper, ask them those questions, think about it. And really, you know, I also love to tell people too, like, you know, I'm going to teach you how to do this business. It's not easy, but it's simple. And if you can do these things consistently, the business will work, right? The business works, the system works. And if I can teach you how to do these things, you know, are you ready to join? Are you ready to join with me? Are you ready to have some fun, right? So that's how you want to do that. And I think the thing too is just always remember that you always want to end with bringing it back to them, right? Okay, if I can show you X, are you ready to join me? If I can show you X, are you ready to join me, right? You relate it back, exactly back to them, and that you're going to show them how, right? So I hope that's making sense. So those are the first four steps. And then step number 5, ask for their social security number and sign them up. No, I'm just kidding. But seriously, what you're going to do at the end is you're actually going to ask for the close, which a lot of people don't do. They don't just say, okay, are you ready to go? Let's go. So easy to get you started. This is the next step. Here we go. This is the next step, right? You're leading them to that next step. And so don't forget when you are, in the prospecting phase, and you're having these great conversations, don't forget to ask for the close, right? Ask for the, okay, let's go. Are you ready to join me? The next step is, here we go, right? So please, please, please don't forget step 5 to really make sure that you're closing that conversation and leading them to the next step, which is the enrollment process, right? Okay. So again, that's kind of the 5 steps with the 6-word strategy. Again, the 6-word strategy in my first grader handwriting over here. But don't forget, you can use this in person, on the phone, right? So if you're still having that initial conversation with somebody, but it is an awesome approach for 3-way calls. Awesome approach for 3-way calls. So for example, as an upline, when someone brings me the 3-way call and I've already kind of gotten a little bit of information about this person, I say to them right on the phone, I'm so excited to talk to you. We're really excited to welcome you. And, we're looking forward to working with you. But, when people are considering Rhodanian Fields, there's usually, 1 of 6 things they're generally interested in. And I want to make sure that we use this time for you and answer your questions. So these are the 6 things. So which of these things are you interested in? Right? So it's exactly how I start off a 3-way call. And it just really, really makes the call efficient, right? So it's a focus on them. It's a focus on them. And the whole point of this step-by-step process is just make it easier for you so that you know how to control and drive the conversation. That's what it's all about. So the takeaway, guys, this business is incredible. We always say we're out there sharing it, but reality is sell this opportunity. I know sometimes people think sell is a bad word. Let me tell you something. Sell is not a bad word. And if you happen to watch the Rachel Hollis, that was probably one of my favorite parts of the convention when she was like, be proud of what you're doing. You are selling and be proud of it, because reality is yes, you should be proud of it. You should be proud of what we do, because what we do is incredible, incredible. Yeah, we're sharing, but man, oh man, we are selling the value of this opportunity because it is too dang good to not share it and sell it to everybody. Seriously. And you all know that. You guys all know that. Okay. Prospecting is a skill. Learn it. If you are shaky in your belief, fix it. Fix it, because it is fixable. Don't think for a second that you can't fix or instill more belief. You 100% can do it, but you've got to do the things that are going to help you get there. You've got to be plugged in. You've got to be engaged. You've got to watch the training. You've got to get out there, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and go do it. Start a new conversation. You've got to do these things. Fix your belief, get it on track, and practice prospecting like a maniac. You'll build the skill. You'll get there, and you'll become incredible. Just takes work. Just takes work. It takes a lot of practice. Take it from somebody. I failed so many times, but it's okay because we learn, right? That's what it's all about. Okay. And then lastly, put this into action today. Put it into action today. We are about to close one of the biggest months in the history of Rhodanian Fields when it comes to launching a new product. Put it into action today and challenge yourself this week to close out the month. Have 10 conversations using this 5-step process. 10. And if you really want to push yourself, have 20, because I know you can do it. I know with everything going on, go back to your list. I know you've got 20 people on your list that you can do this exercise with. I know you can. Okay. That's it. Okay. So I hope that you're all excited. I hope that this was helpful. If this was helpful for you, tag people on your team that you think, you're having conversations with them and they're feeling stuck and they're not sure how to talk to people. Tag them. They might get value out of this too. Okay. So let's share it. Let's share the Rodan and Fields love. Let's get out there and have as many conversations that we can about this business and help really create the vision in others so that, and Jamie always says, what does Jamie always say? The best way that we can help the most people with Rodan and Fields is by sharing the opportunity with them, right? So thank you guys so much for joining me for this training. Hope it's helpful and cannot wait to celebrate all of your success to close out September and really 2018 and beyond. All right. Love to y'all. Bye.